Jeremy. This is Mario. We're both here in the new Sweet Tea Shakespeare Studio Plus. We'll talk about the Plus. Mario, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? Talk about where you're from, what you do, and your connection to Sweet Tea, if you would.
Yeah, my name is Mario Benavente, a longtime Fayetteville resident, and I guess I'll go backwards. Sweet Tea Shakespeare has been a great nonprofit board opportunity for me. I was brought aboard, and absolutely, and so it was a great chance to learn from seasoned vets when it comes to operating an organization just like Sweet Tea or really any nonprofit, and it's kind of allowed me to branch out in that realm. So I'm really proud of sort of the launching pad it's been for me to get more involved with different organizations that are just doing great work. And I love Shakespeare stuff. Yeah, I mean, Macbeth, we have the new Denzel version of it coming out or just came out. I need to find that somewhere in theaters.
He said the word.
Yeah, well, that's the
We're
rule,
not
right?
in theater, so it's allowed.
I'm not an actor, right?
It's
yeah,
allowed.
I think you have to actually have a leg to break.
Yes, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, The Tragedy of Macbeth, starring Denzel Washington, and I'm not sure who Lady Macbeth is, though.
Frances McDormand.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a powerhouse thing.
Frances McDormand. The
McDormand.
McDormand of Fargo fame.
Yes.
Yeah. She's great. Olive Kitteridge. Did you ever see that? It's like an HBO 6-episode drama.
I did not.
Yeah. Basically some book, and of course she killed it. I really like her. I forget that's her name. Frances McDormand.
Yeah. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's really good.
She just won last year for Nomad.
Which I didn't get a chance to see. That was like the quasi-documentary sort of dish there. And
it's Stark. I guess that's what, yeah.
Is there a term for it?
No, it's, well, I mean, that's my term. I mean, I don't know.
It's not a mockumentary. It's not mocking anything.
No.
But I know they stemmed in, or they brought in different kinds of folks, but non-actors, I should say. But the director, do you remember the name of the director for that one?
I don't.
Well, she got an Oscar, I think,
for
that. And this is like my vague pop culture understanding. I think she went on to then, the very next movie she did was The Eternals, the big Marvel movie.
Oh, yeah. Chloe.
Director. Yeah, there you go. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yep.
So everyone's got to do a Marvel movie. I think it's just a rite of passage nowadays.
That's right. I'm just going to ask out there in Facebook land, can you hear us?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
I don't know. Are we frozen? I guess I'm going to look. I can look.
I like this still, though.
Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to happen.
It's a good still. Must be
here
somewhere.
Well, I see we're on the thing.
Do we exist?
I can hear us.
Oh, yeah. We're in the metaverse.
And we don't appear to be frozen.
Excellent.
That's all good. So we're talking about all the technical stuff. We're still working out the details. This is like the third stream we've done.
Who was on the first two times?
So first one, LJ.
Of course.
Minda, Tracy.
Oh,
Second
yeah.
one I did yesterday, and we had some audio issues. Apologies.
For the second one?
For the first one.
Ah.
Second one, also audio issues, but that was my fault because I forgot to check a box. And so Jake and I spoke for like 4 minutes and then figured out nobody could hear us. And then we did the show, and Taj just popped in the middle of it. He just like walked in.
Just did a Bigfoot, just kind of walked in the background.
So that was yesterday, but everything else seemed to go perfectly fine.
Well, Minda's great. I feel like she needs to come here and teach us how to make this happen. Because I know that her and
she's a professional.
Yeah, her and another friend of mine, they've been doing it for a while. So yeah, Minda, whenever you want to come give us a master class, as they say,
and we're like, so we got to talk about this whole thing in a second. But one of the things that I'm hoping Minda will do is a podcast right from this very studio, a stream, if you will.
That's the plan.
Place. So this studio, so we've talked about it in all the streams we've done so far, because we're grateful that it happened. And I just want to mention, so a lot of the equipment that you can't see, but which is facilitating all of this, was provided via a mini grant from the Arts Council of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and some of that funding comes from the North Carolina Arts Council. So we want to thank them both. We also want to thank Melissa Posado.
Posada, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Posada, who contributed earlier this week.
Yep.
A handsome amount that will be getting a great computer to handle the streams and all of that, and some cameras and things like that. So eventually you can see us in profile. That'll be great. Or I could
Good
just
side.
do this.
There you go. Like a
Anyway, and we got this new stuff. It's great. Thank you, Arts Council. Thank you, North Carolina Arts Council. And thank you, Melissa. But really, the idea for this, a lot of it came from you. So you called me up one day or shot me a text or whatever it was. So tell people what this whole idea is, what this thing is.
Right.
And we'll get into some of the details about how people can put it to use.
Yeah. So, I mean, podcasting has been blowing up, y'all. I mean, everyone, whether you're driving around or you're like me, as soon as I get up in the morning, I open up YouTube and I've got a dozen podcasters, so I'm always catching up on, and I just have them running. So, the wave has come. It's on Spotify. It's on every possible platform. And I've had good times in Fayetteville just kind of hopping on people's shows, whether it's, radio format. It's all, really the same idea. And I think it's clearly translated. People just enjoy hearing it. It's just as well that, folks just listen to the radio now that you turn on your podcast nowadays. So why not try and do one that's Fayetteville focused, Fayetteville centered? I felt like I've started to meet local podcasters who are kind of doing it the best they could. Shout out to some sportscasters that we have in the area that kind of covered like Fayetteville sports and things like that. And I was just thinking, why can't we kind of make a more collective effort to try and house everyone under one roof, put our equipment together, all the little tips and tricks that you kind of learn along the way, all the pitfalls we want to avoid. So really, it's just a co-working idea, right? Because, I mean, it really did come out of, my role at Revolutionary Co-working in downtown Fayetteville, that we're thinking we've got all this room. We've got a couple extra offices. We already offer, board rooms to folks who don't necessarily need to pay for one on their own, by themselves. So let's use that same model. Folks can walk in off the street and use this boardroom. Folks can get a membership and get a discounted rate on using that boardroom. Same idea. Why can't we do that with just a lot of awesome tech that, if you're just trying it out, just to see if you can find your voice or find an audience, rather than sort of buying everything yourself, come hang with us and, we'll work on it together. So that was the idea, and we've had a number of folks that were sort of interested in doing the real legwork, right? Because someone eventually has to go shopping. Someone eventually has to go and look at all the top 10 lists of the best mics and the best cameras and all the equipment that it comes with it. And somebody had to do it.
It wasn't me.
Someone had to do it.
I was theoretically responsible for that, and I did almost none of it.
Outsourcing,
That's right.
I mean, that's part of it. A lot of this is just networking, right? Somebody knows how to do it. We know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
That's right.
And eventually we got to this point, so that's
You're
the
nothing
plan.
if not resourceful.
There you go. Yeah, and we've
My
got
middle name.
incredibly smart friends that are incredibly talented, and they've all sort of kind of stepped up in their own unique ways to say, hey, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. Or let's be honest, people like LG and Minda, they're going to be our eventual talent, I guess, because someone's got to occupy all this time that we want to, the studio time basically, that we want to start developing. Just so folks can play and kind of have these conversations that we want to be having, and more importantly, sharing these ideas, getting the message out when it comes to what's going on around town, or what the next big thing is going to be. And I think the more we talk about it, especially if we can get out to more and more people, that's the best way to go. So hence this sort of community podcasting ideas, community podcast studio idea came about, and so far so good.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I've kind of lived down here this week. I don't mind it. So what I was going to say is, Sweet Tea, a lot of the stuff back there, the bohemian look, the sign, that's all Sweet Tea Shakespeare. And when you buzzed me about this several months ago, I'm slow. I thought, well, hey, we've got some stuff, and we're going to put it to use. The lighting that you don't see, and some of the sound equipment, and the cabling, and some of the mics, and all that, we were able to provide. Then the Arts Council grant was able to provide some. Then Melissa's contribution is buying things as we speak. They're literally in the mail, caught up in the supply chain somewhere.
There you go.
And so we've got those things.
It's all coming together.
We'll take more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'd like to make a donation, I'll name the studio after you.
There you go. Yeah, you can have a chair, you can have a mic, we'll placard your name somewhere. And that's the idea, is that if we all kind of pitch in together, we can put something pretty cool together. And that whole nonprofit model, right? I mean, we're doing this sort of for a purpose, not necessarily for a profit. And so, you can certainly, I think there are probably studios around here that you can take advantage of with probably much wiser engineers and things like that. Or come over here, we can all learn to be engineers together off of YouTube and off of Reddit forums and figure it out as we go, because that's half the fun, right?
That's right. I on this kind of stuff, I'm just a self-taught person, so I just like put it together from scratch. And so when you asked about this, the Sweet Tea was kind of in the middle of its digital pivot. So early on, when we couldn't do face-to-face stuff, I was like, what do we do? And the Zoom production / podcast / stream was like the thing we could do. We didn't know how to program it at first. Took us a while. And then, so we did that for over a year until we went back to in-person outdoor productions last spring. And right then, we got like super overwhelmed with all of that. So we took some time off.
Yeah. No, I want to remind me again, it was a particular occasion where I got to do a role in a sort of Zoom setting. Well, what show was that?
I want to say it was 12th Night.
Was it 12th Night?
Might have been 12th Night.
I know I came right out of the gate mispronouncing the city that I was welcoming this main character to. Just right off the bat, just flubbed the line. Like, I forget what exactly the play was, but it was like I was welcoming someone into the port, and I was some sort of ferryman at the time, and you're supposed to have
there's a captain in 12th Night who's welcoming Viola to Illyria.
There we go. What is the name of the place?
12th Night.
No. The location. Illyria?
Illyria.
It's not what I said. Not what I said. Alleria? I don't know what I said. But some very, very kind actor in the chat, because we could kind of chat as we're sort of like going along, was like, no, that's in character, because he was probably just testing her to see if she really knew. I don't know. He gave me some kind of line that made me feel a lot better about it. But that was it was fun. Yeah. It was fun to do
and it was a good way to kind of build community at the time when you couldn't visit each other.
I had a good time.
And so seeing other people, I was really skeptical of all the Zoom stuff at first because I have an allergy to Zoom generally. But it really did create some opportunities to build community. And that's really what this is. Like, you can't see it here either, but right below us is this wooden table, giant wooden table, that we used first in Richard III a couple years ago, or carrying dead bodies on it and all kinds of other things. And this is the table that often comes to mind when we talk about the Sweet Tea Shakespeare mission, which begins with gathering people around a common table.
There you go.
And so when we were thinking about this podcast stuff, the whole setup, the streaming setup, I was thinking, how do we get the community feel in the room that will spill out? You know, we can get two of us talking anytime.
Right.
What does it look to have like 6 or 8 people who are from all pockets of Fayetteville or wherever else they'd like to come from?
That's right.
And we're having crosstalk and conversation this way. So one of the things you out there in the universe and you will be able to see soon, I hope, is some sort of 360-degree arrangement. You can see the screen like this, but you might also be able to see all the people at one time sort of communing. So I'm excited about that piece. And I just want to talk about the sort of the community use of this. So this is the whole idea. Like, we can't do but like a few minutes a day. Really.
Right.
And sometimes we can only do a few minutes a week. So that's what we're going to do. That means that there's like 23 hours left, 7 days a week that you could do something. And we want you to do it. So if you're interested, we want you to tell stories. We want to hear stories. We want to hear new music if you've got that.
I love it.
If you want to do acrobatic tricks in the back here, that's allowed. And here's the whole thing. Like, so we've got to teach each other, as Maria mentioned. But like, we'll like teach you how to use the stuff at a basic level. We'll tell you how to poke the buttons. And if you want to set up, like, what we have is essentially a little network set up so that when we click a button, we're going to Facebook and our Facebook group and Twitter and Twitch and YouTube, and then it lives on YouTube forever after we're done. Scary. for some
Well,
of us.
you know, that's part of the plan. It brings you A game, right?
But we can
'Cause,
teach you all of that.
That's
stuff,
right. That's
is
right.
my point. So there's a soundboard, and there's a video switcher, and there's some lighting, and there's a piece of software. But it can be learned in an afternoon, and then you have use of the stuff.
Right.
And as Mario was mentioning, we're trying to make that part of it as accessible as possible. So it'll shortly be on the Sweet Tea Shakespeare website, but there will be a sliding scale so that you can come in. If you want to rent it, we can guarantee it's going to be less expensive than anywhere else in town. And if you don't want to pay the top dollar retail price because you are, say, trying to start a new hustle, we'll talk, and you can pick the price that you can pay, up to and including, or down to and including free.
That's right.
And we'll make some arrangement with you. It could be volunteer hours for a local organization, another nonprofit. It could be serving on a board of a nonprofit. It could be you are the manufacturer of delightful wood chips, and we have a huge need for them.
There you go.
Next play. And so we'll just make a deal.
That's right.
That's it. And so if you're interested in it, you can go ahead and post in the comments, and we'll see those and follow up with you. You can email me at artistic@sweetteashakespeare.com. You can visit our website, sweetteashakespeare.com, and fill out the contact form. Eventually, you're going to see us right on it. You'll see us in the menu, the studio part. But
and get excited about it, right? I mean, this is a brand new year, brand new you, brand new ideas. And sometimes there's something about, I think, knowing that you've got a show to do, you've got, more content to produce, that helps maybe, be a bit of a taskmaster for yourself. Because, I mean, I know a lot of creative folks that get a lot of different projects going, and if there's not sort of a watchful eye on whether you get around to it, sometimes we never get it done. So I don't know. There's something about knowing that, I've got to, get back to the studio, and I got to be able to, show what I was working on this past week or this past month. I think it could work like that, too, for a lot of folks. I know that's what I'm hoping to do. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm working on, and I know if I feel like, hey, someone's waiting on this content. Someone's waiting on to hear the next, sort of step that I'm on when it comes to this. It's just going to kind of motivate me to do that. So that's just what I'm thinking. And I'm sharing that with you also, maybe that you guys can start thinking that, hey, that could be a way it could help, too. So take advantage of this. Learn a new, sort of hobby or a new sort of skill, being able to work on some of this equipment, and you never know where it might take you. And God knows you've got some ideas, like you were saying, a side hustle. You can call it whatever you want. It might be that thing that you've been waiting to do for the longest. This is your sign. Jeremy just gave it to you.
It's your sign.
This is it.
Here's your sign.
Here it is.
And I just want to say, so access on this project is super important. So you can have access, including free access, pending the deal we talked about. But also, you can basically have it at any time. We'll work out, how to get you in here, teach you the stuff. If you work best at 2 a.m, I will bring my coffee, and I'll sit back there and listen to you do your thing. And as we grow, the idea is we want to get enough members, people who are plugged in to using this thing, that it can supply new equipment that we want. We want to hire in something or other. We can do that, and we can go into a bigger space. We can do lots of things, and so I see a couple ways into this. One is becoming like a consistent user of this thing, and the other is if you're out there and you're like, that sounds like something I want to sponsor in some way, we would love to chat with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys have seen your podcast. Every once in a while they do a little side segment, a little sponsored ad sort of thing. I mean, hey, eventually, if that's what it takes to get, that 360 camera or something like that, let's talk about it. Yeah, let's definitely have a conversation. Because, like I said, there's almost like a lot of lessons I feel like we've learned watching, the pros do it, and I think we want to incorporate a lot of that. So whether that is, like I said, advertising a little bit for folks, especially if you start growing an audience, everyone's going to want to tune in to see what, LJ and Minda are working on. Hopefully we got, some content from Sweet Tea coming out that's going to make you want to sort of have your name attached to it somewhere, somehow. So let's definitely think of all the creative ways that we can get awesome equipment that you'll eventually end up get to play with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I like toys. That's the simple. So you're funding my toy habit. It's not actually mine because the equipment doesn't belong to me. But I get to feel like it is, and so will you. So that's cool. So Mario, changing subjects. How was your 2021?
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a whole lot. I think it was a whole lot for a lot of folks for sure in a million different ways. But I'm still wrapping up the law school thing, and so we finally went back in person this past fall. Did
you hear that, folks? He's wrapping up the law school.
Yeah, just wrapping it
He's
up.
applying for bars.
Yes, that's exactly.
Different bars than we usually are accustomed to.
Right. No, I just submitted my bar application, and that was a whole monster. Because you got to have like 100 references, and you've got to pay $1 million just for the privilege of being able to practice the law, and so yeah, there's a lot of hazing. We call it hazing essentially. This is pretty much what we refer to it as. So all good things there, and outside of that, working on some other city-related municipal government type work, and then of course just trying to be good to my friends. My gosh, there's so much going on that all my friends are working on. With their projects. I mean, just last night we had that huge downtown New Year's Eve festival, and just knowing how hard my friends are working on those things, it really is great to be able to have the chance to pitch in where I can. Same thing with Jeremy and with Sweet Tea. Whenever there's something going on, it's always great to know that like we've built this little bit of a network, a little bit of a collective of folks that we know we could reach out to. And just like with this studio, my God, this is a great example of it. Knowing that I could reach out to Jeremy, and all of a sudden he's like, let me get on that. Let's figure that out. And we did. So, just wanted to continue that side of things. Everyone's still doing really great stuff in 2020, or did great stuff in 2021. And I think this year, a lot of that stuff is just going to blast off. I think that's the really exciting part about it. These have also been super annoying, obviously.
To say the least.
Yeah. I mean, it's crummy how, a lot of this COVID stuff just isn't going away. It's just a fact of life, trying to encourage folks to do their due diligence as it relates to getting vaccinated and stuff like that. We were able to do a pop-up clinic over this past fall as well, and it seems like we're just going to have to do this every year, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a normal thing nowadays. Jeremy, did you end up having a super productive 2021? Was it all amazing?
It was not all amazing. That I can answer. I would say it was a productive 2021. But it was weird.
So unpredictable for you guys, for a Sweet Tea in general.
Yeah, I mean, so it turns out that the COVID, like
the specter
where we're
of
all
COVID,
inside,
right?
Pre-vaccine, that just created a sort of different pace and way of working. And so when we went back on the ground, and then I teach in the classroom too at Federal State, that was it was a massive shock to the system.
Right.
And I think I underestimated what it would be at first. I figured it would just be exciting.
Sure.
And the adrenaline would carry me. But it was actually really, really taxing.
Right.
And so that put me into a funk, like actual depression in the first half of the year. But then I sort of, somewhere in the summer, sort of figured that out and went and talked to doctors and
there you go.
Got some stuff.
Got to do it
and
sometimes.
The second half of 2021 has been pretty cool.
It's all just running together for me because I feel like I'm thinking back, like, was that 2021? Was that 2020? Like, it's all just been kind of a weird, just not a blur, but yeah. Let's all get into the camera. See, and guys, we're figuring it out as we go. I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get you in more focus.
Oh, of course. Focus on me.
Focus on you.
But yeah, there's a lot that went on, and it just never feels like it's going to stop. That's the weird part about it.
Is there anything on it?
Just your hand. Now your head.
We're just going to see what happens.
I think it looks great.
Okay, great. We're just trying things out.
This is the time to do it. This is
So
time
what
to practice.
about what are you looking forward to in 2022?
Things coming to fruition. We've been putting a lot of dirt in. We've been putting a lot of groundwork in on a lot of different projects. Like I said, bringing it right back to the podcasting studio. I mean, this thing was something we were just barely talking about, probably this time last year or so, with a bunch of folks. I think I brought Jeremy into it over the summertime because, I mean, Sweet Tea Shakespeare was doing so much online content. So it sounded like you guys were already halfway there.
Living on a prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, it was just really great that we've been able to kind of get this going, and I want to see this kind of like success and sort of like realization of all the projects this coming year. So that's the main focus. Just I think that's the other lesson from COVID is just like don't feel like, or rather take advantage of the time that you've got, because you never know when the rug will get pulled out from underneath the entire planet. You know, it's just don't think that you can do this next year sometime, or maybe a year after that. We'll get around to it. Just got to really be on the ball with everything. And I don't know if that's just my own sort of work habit or just sort of personality trait when it comes to that, because I know plenty of folks who are saying, no, it's time to slow down. Now it's time to kind of, relax and keep your mental health in order. And for me, I think my way of doing that is really just keep them busy. So just looking forward to that, honestly, just trying to make good on a lot of things that I told myself I'm going to make sure it gets taken care of. So that's what I'm mostly looking forward to. Law school things should be done by May, which is good. Some of the other stuff I'm working on with the city government should be done by May as well. So there's just going to be a lot that kind of gets wrapped up in the first half. I don't even know what the rest of the year will look like. My God. So I guess that's from my side. I mean, you work on the semester sort of timetable too.
We found out yesterday actually that FSU is going to go back a week later.
Okay, push it back a little bit. All right.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives me more time to write some excellent syllabi.
There you go.
And then we're busy, but like right now, I don't know how long this is going to last, but right now, busy does not feel like obligation to me. Sometimes it does. But it's just like, if the work is good and you enjoy it, and it feels like flow, it's what you want to do. It's like, of course you're busy, because it's like breathing.
What else are you going to do? Yeah.
So we're doing a lot right now, and when I say we, I really mean we, because I'm helping press some buttons behind the scenes, but we have Aaron Alderman, who you've met before, from Durham, is directing, and the guy who played Richard III on this very table.
Oh wow, yeah, he was great.
Is directing 2 productions of Shakespeare's history plays, the Henriade, some folks call it. So it's Richard II and Henry IV Part 1, and they're doing both of those like on top of each other, limited rehearsal time. And it's been interrupted by the holidays.
Right.
They're doing their first stumble through tomorrow, and we open in a week and a half. And
I'm sure they got it.
Alternate plays.
They're
sure great. It's a great cast. It's a fantastic cast, but it's a lot of hard work. And I know they're working on music today and all that. So they're doing that. And then Tracy Taj and co are working on Romeo and Juliet, which will be at the Arts Council 4 times, Patty's, and Hugger Mugger in Sanford.
Nice.
So. And then we got a bajillion things after that. I'm just like, and we're trying to plan next year's season, and the grant cycle sort of is like January
started
to April.
Already, right?
And so we got a lot of people working on a lot of things.
But I feel like you figured it out. I feel like you're pretty good at this point. Like this kind of all plates spinning all at once kind of thing. I feel like you've kind of gotten the hang of it.
I personally have gotten the hang of it. I always have to remind myself when I'm in it, like, you should plan less misery next time. Because there are some times where you're in, like, quadruple booked or whatever.
Oh, no, we hate it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's absolutely miserable.
But it's
also...
Yeah, it's like holding your breath.
Right.
For a long week or something.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of good stuff figured out, and that is because we have a good team that has started to congeal. I'm going to say hi to some of those folks. Tracy Zapata, Deputy Artistic Director. Britt Bryant, Director of Marketing, who is not feeling well. Hi, Britt. Start to feel better if you can. Sarah Chapman, Director of Education. Meg Redding, General Manager. Brian Klein, who's not watching this at all because he is in Brazil. And if he's watching this, he shouldn't be. Who else is out there? Sana Mulder, box office manager. Haley Philippart, our company manager, production manager. Zach Williams, our production coordinator. God, I'm missing so many people, but that's,
Klein is just Brazilian now.
He is. Yeah, I think he's setting up a little timeshare down there.
I love it.
I'm sure.
No, I've been living vicariously through all those Brazil posts. It's pretty cool. I've got some extended family that lives out there, and it's a joke with my family in South America, too, in Peru, that, like, since I was 16, I've been coming next summer. No, next summer I'm coming. Next summer. And I've been doing that for about 10, 15 years now. So getting to see other people travel and do their thing. Makes sense. I mean, a lot of folks, they figure out they can do a lot of stuff online and remotely and whatnot. So why not take advantage of,
it's
if you can.
like, yeah, if I could figure that out. You just can't teach theater most of the time.
Virtually, yeah.
Like, I could teach theater history.
Right.
I could teach script analysis.
Sure.
I could even do playwriting. And you could do some, like, performance stuff. Because, like, I could conceive of, like, an intro to theater class where there's, like, one little acting project where they have to memorize a monologue or something like that. I could see that. But, like, we also have to teach all this other stuff, like directing and acting and all kinds of things that you just have to be in the room.
Absolutely. No, yeah. I mean,
that's been I don't like it.
No, yeah, it's impossible. I really felt like most of my classmates, when we were all attending Zoom School of Law, just really that some of that content just doesn't translate if you're sitting there with every distraction possible around you. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, I really, really took advantage of that 0-minute commute, and just kind of rolling out of bed to my 9 a.m. class and just turning my phone on.
You say 0-minute commute, but like I have thought so many times, like, this saves me.
Yeah.
2 hours and 15 minutes every day. Or
Absolutely.
whatever. It's like I can get more done.
Uh-huh.
And I think we all understand that. And it's just convincing, middle and upper management to understand it.
And some of them have got it. Right. No, some of them have got it, and depending on the industry, I guess. But no, you're talking about all these theater classes that you teach, and I'm thinking about the handful of theater classes that I took at Carolina under a gentleman by the name of Joseph Meagle. Mm-hmm. And I dropped every class because I would always end up struggling in my other classes, and I needed the extra room and like towards the end of the semester. So I would always take 75% of his classes. And unfortunately wouldn't be able to stick around to the end because they were great and they were fun. They were all like performative, and we were working on just, whether it was, like you said, one-man show type work or sort of just working with another group of folks, with our classmates on projects. And it just had to be the first thing that I had to trim, at when it came to drop ad time. So I always regretted that. But I still go to his shows whenever he has one on in Durham. He's definitely been a really cool person to get to know. And I never realized how sort of prolific he is in the area. I'm sure you've worked with him before.
I know his name.
Oh, you know his name? Yeah.
Worked together, yeah. It's interesting. So you're connecting in ways. I mean, I have a lecture that I do at the beginning of my classes about the sort of how deeply integrated theater is into everything we do. And one of those examples is the courtroom.
Sure, 100%.
I mean, we've been talking about the classroom, but as you are hopeful to be a lawyer soon, there's a real connection. Yeah. When I direct, I have this thing that it's like just a note I give, like I just locked into my brain one time, and I just use it over and over again because it works. And we're talking about like audience interaction in Shakespeare plays. And so one of the things I always tell actors and then coach them around is like, you have to work the jury. And what we mean is like all the audience sitting out here, you kind of got to, like how Sam Waterston used to do, you got to kind of lean their way, talk to them while you're still funneling things back to whoever you're talking about.
That's right.
And like that theater, which of course is captured on like every TV show ever made, basically. That drama is really cool.
And it kind of like is a self-fulfilling sort of art imitates life thing where, because we know that juries have seen all of these things, that they're almost expecting that whoever does them is therefore, the top dog or, is the more proficient attorney. It feeds itself a little bit. So some of those, like you said, just those quirks, some of those ways of putting on an opening or closing argument. And the other funny thing was in undergrad, I did mock trial, and some of our best folks were just theater majors or communications folks who had an interest in the law and were great witnesses. I mean, we won tournaments, we won rounds because their performance as this witness in character, if you will, just blew away the other folks who were just kind of phoning it in and just giving kind of stock answers. And we always had attorneys and judges grading or I guess scoring, I should say, the rounds. And yeah, they wanted to see it. They wanted to see, all of that. And it's a big part of it. I had a communications degree, so I was able to kind of be able to take a lot of performance, arts and performance classes and things like that as requirements. So it was good practice. It was good fun. I can't memorize anything very well for very long. So whenever I see like I saw Sonny Kelly's one-man show. That's probably the last show I went to recently. Apparently, Professor Meagle had something to do with that. I'm not sure if he helped direct or what it was. I didn't know they knew each other. Of course they knew each other. But just to see a person go up and do an hour and a half of just dialogue or of just, I mean, it's magic in my mind because I don't know who's got the headspace for that.
Well, I used to do it a lot, and I can't do it anymore.
Right.
I mean, I could with a real press,
right?
But like
you really like knock the rust
really
off,
like,
right?
I just think about other things.
Sure.
Like I have, my brain is full. So,
and I'll sing every lyric to like these albums that I love. You know what I mean? But that's not the same thing. I think there's something else going on when you can memorize just this book. It blows my mind.
it is. They're magicians,
And I think so.
That's for sure. So we're gonna like just make a little commercial here.
Commercial time.
So A1A, thank you Arts Council Fayetteville Cumberland County for the equipment you contributed to this here studio, which is, as we mentioned earlier, yours to use, community. Like, we'll have a rate sheet as soon as we walk out of here. We'll post it on the website. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And other part of the commercial is you can tip us and we'll buy more cameras or like fancier lighting or puppets. I don't know. We'll something. And you can tip us. I posted the link in the chat on the Facebook if you're there. If you're not, it's streamlabs.com/sweetteashakes will get us money right away via the PayPal. Some of you above 35 know what that is. Everybody else just uses the Venmo.
Cash App is king right now. Yep.
The Zelle.
Apple Pay is pretty far integrated. Yeah.
And by the way, if any of those companies would like to sponsor us,
I know we're name dropping them.
dropped
Right,
on the internet. Hit us up.
Yeah. All good things, man. I mean, I'm really looking forward to all of this because I really do just see just the evolution of all this equipment, of all the fun little things that we're going to be able to do, and just getting good at all this. Because I think that's what it's really all about. So far, so good. I feel like we talk all the time, Jeremy, but at the same time, you never know.
I don't know.
You never know.
I mean, I feel like we talk all the time, too.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure the last time I've seen you in person. I feel like it's been in the last few months, but like
no, you know what it is because we see each other randomly out and about.
Right, yeah.
I think I saw you at like the Greek cookout, randomly downtown. That's what it is. Yeah. It's always in spurts.
That's true. I remember now we saw you at Winter Bloom.
Yeah. We had a little chat before. You had a show for your son.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. But like there are so many people right now. We're like
haven't caught up with them.
I haven't seen them in person in a year and a half. Or
right.
So or almost 2 years in some cases. So anyway.
Well, you were talking about that little drop-down link to donate or whatever. I do this all the time. Whenever friends of mine, it's their birthday, you see on Facebook all the time, the sort of birthday fundraiser that folks will do. In my mind, that would be the thing that reminds me of either like, oh, I haven't seen that person in a million years. Gosh, if we could only go out for coffee, if we could only grab a cocktail, well, let me throw something in that fundraiser. Because that's what I'm thinking is that like this is the $10, that I would have spent on a cocktail with them or on a coffee with them. So that's how I think about it. So if you haven't seen Jeremy in a while, buy him a drink. Buy him a drink right now. Feel free to throw it in there. That's one way to do it. The other good thing about that birthday feature is if I don't recognize you, that's a great time to unfriend somebody. If I can't even muster up an HBD for your birthday, probably just,
Unless you're going into marketing.
Yeah,
but
that's
everybody.
No, yeah, you got to know who you're friends with, especially on Facebook. My gosh, you put all that business out there.
But there are some people whose names I do not know.
You accept those friend requests?
I must have.
You had
At one point, I knew them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
See, I've done that before too, where you completely forget. We should talk about that. That's kind of rude, but I've absolutely done that. Yeah. I couldn't place them if I tried.
It's tough. It's tough. I'm sure we know each other.
Right. But that's the fun part of social media. Are you going to get on Metaverse? Have you heard about all this?
I will get on the Metaverse, which is just the newest version of Second Life.
It is exactly Second Life. It's exactly Second Life.
I will get on it.
But can you buy land in Second Life? Can you buy digital land?
I think they tried.
They tried?
But they, it just ballooned.
They were ahead of the curve.
And then,
Now we know that the same way you can buy a star and name it after somebody, you can buy. That's how gimmicky I feel like it is.
I am.
That could be eating my words
the
in
proud
few years.
owner of 1 square foot of Scotland.
Oh, are you a lord?
I am, yes. I
Is that actually what the title, or did they give you another title?
It's actually Laird.
Okay, there you go.
So thank you to my mother-in-law who
That's pretty
got
cool.
me that for Christmas last year.
I like it a lot.
Did you get anything good for Christmas?
No, I'm the worst person to get gifts for. I'm a gift giver. Don't get me anything. Because I'm horrible about gifts. I'll just give one anecdote. When I was in like high school, terrible person I am. When a girl I was dating at the time got me something, but it was like the equivalent of like the iPhone X, but even though we're on iPhone 13, so I was like, oh, thanks. It's just completely rude. Just like, I'll buy the tech. You know what I mean? Things that I know about, let me get it. I'm going to do the research into it. That's kind of the tough part. It wasn't even an iPhone. It was like the Asus brand. Anyways, point is, I'm a tough person to get gifts for, so I usually don't accept gifts because I will be rude about it. Socks, I like socks. I need business socks. My gosh, I have to get up for court all the time. Yeah, no, I got some Super Mario branded sort of like Yoshi. Like it came in a pack of like a bunch of different characters. I have to get up for court all the time nowadays. And that's another thing I realized is that when you tell people in different circles that, yeah, I've got court in the morning, it's funny to hear like, oh, okay, whose case are you working on? Some friends are like, damn, what'd you do? Like, it's funny to notice how certain friends react to me saying I got to go to court. So now I need those things. I got tie clips. Tie clips are great. I just need the outfit stuff now. Yeah. Then I just buy for myself. Amazon, you just go online. I get things on my own.
I think I'm going to go spend one of my Christmas gifts.
What's that? Oh, you got a little gift card?
Yeah, I got a gift card to Anstead's, which is one of my favorite.
Very nice cigar. Yeah, absolutely. Have you been to the one downtown?
I have not.
The livery?
No, I did.
The
I
livery?
did pop in. I was early to
How do you
pick up my
pronounce
kids
that?
one day.
Livery?
Livery. Mm-hmm. It's a Shakespearean term. We can
Educate us.
I'll do a whole lecture.
I want it right now. Give me the Spark Notes.
To this day, this is true in the city of London, but it was also true in Shakespeare's day, way back to the medieval period. The things called livery companies.
Sure.
Which are essentially
haberdasheries. Trade unions.
Yeah. So it's a little different. It's a guild system. It's born out of medieval period, Middle Ages. It's quality control, and
got it.
And you pay your dues, just like going to the bar, or just being in the bar. Yeah. It's exactly like that, except for different trades. And so you would have a haberdasher's
livery.
You might have one that's the gold mongers. You might have
yes, the gold mongers.
All of those, and there are
right.
And then
stonemasons livery.
Basically, the city council has to approve, has authorized those livery companies.
Got it.
So it's and there are only so many, and it's very prestigious if you are one. And it runs itself kind of equivalent to like secret society, but without any of the creep, really.
Without any of the creep.
Yeah, so they were like certain robes,
no blood oaths.
And they have certain they'll carry the mason of the order and all of this. So anyway, that's what a livery company is, that livery though is, I think in reference to like the place where you might sell livestock. That's the livery,
livery stock.
Yeah,
got it.
So that's what that is. But
very cool.
I don't know why the English call their stuff livery. I mean, that clothing is livery because but that's an informal use in Shakespeare. It's like he's wearing the liveries, and it would mean like he's wearing whatever his overalls for his job. Or
got it. That's how it kind of evolved into the use. Got it. See, I like that stuff. I like this kind of fun stuff. I will randomly find myself in like a YouTube vortex of just like random 2 to 3 minute like TED Talky kind of things on Shakespeare and on language. And it's like all the Merchant of Venice stuff. Like I feel like I have to know it because it's so based around the courtroom. Yep. Like, for a while there, just getting out of the car to Revco, we've got the courthouse downtown that's got that quote, the old courthouse, I should say. So every day I was reading. So I'm like, eventually I'll memorize this. But again, it's been like 3-4 years, and I'm like just barely.
Get a tattoo.
Just barely. No tattoos. You have a bunch of tattoos?
I do have a bunch of tattoos.
Do you?
They're covered up today, but my arms are from here down are covered more or less on both sides.
Someone made a joke recently that people
need to get a new one. Liz Gruesome just friended me on Facebook, and so I think I'm going to ask her.
Oh, is she your tattoo artist?
Yeah.
Got it.
I think she's going to be my next one.
Nice. Well, I mean, they say that people in my generation ruin tattoos because you'll see like a 25-year-old dude with just like completely covered and like you're not afraid that he's going to beat your ass. If it's like a dude who's like in his 60s with like a faded anchor tattoo, yeah, you know he's going to, he means business, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think there's something to be said about, you know, when your first tattoo is a face tattoo.
Yeah. That's a choice. That's a real strong choice.
It's like there was like some graph where it's like, you know, everything is like it's visible. It's got to be visible now. That's like the new trend, you know. So I don't know. I can never do it. I haven't been able to muster up.
What I did. So I like to roll my sleeves up when I'm wearing a dress shirt just a little. I have short arms, so almost like unless I get something custom tailored, almost always too long. But I like doing the casual.
Yes, scrunch them up.
And so I basically measured the fold up.
Yeah.
So that I could wear a dress shirt to work, roll the sleeves up.
Right.
And it turns out, like, I think I've worn a dress shirt to work maybe a total of 4 times.
That's awesome.
11 years. That's just the nature. Like, we're, like, directing people and, like, the real professors actually
don't do anything.
Like, dress like business, you know what I mean? But some of them teach PE. They're not wearing dress shirts.
Definitely not.
The theater people are not wearing dress shirts.
Can't switch right through.
And there are a lot of people in between.
For sure.
There's the jeans and T-shirt crowd, and then there's...
Well, there's not, and I mean, it's the department chair is not going to come down on anybody and say,
different
"Hey,
liveries."
There you go. It goes
which
back.
job
back.
you like? If you want to be an administrator, you better dress to the nines.
There you go. Well, they can afford it.
That's true.
But yeah, I miss being at like an actual college. Law school is very different. It almost feels like being in elementary school because we're in one building. We just kind of go from like down the hall to the other classrooms. But I miss actually being like on a campus where you've got to like hall. I mean, not now. I mean, back then I probably hated it, and I wish everything was on the same hall. But grass is always greener. Now I feel like being able to go onto campus at like FSU or wherever, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to kind of wander and just run into people. You know.
Yeah, I like that. I like that very much. I was just up on the Carolina campus actually.
Yeah.
I see had a big art installation. Sorta. It's called Atmospheric Memory. It was high tech. Like they would take pictures and project them, and there was.
Is that the Ackland or?
It was at Memorial.
Okay.
And it was a trippy, very sort of avant-garde experience that dealt with climate change and a variety of other things.
Sure.
But it was cool. It was really cool.
I hate that I can't remember the name of it, but one of my professors from then too, she was also in the art department, Sabine Gruffat. Her and her husband, Josh Brown. I mean, they put on this like. They curate, ask everyone who wants to do weird sci-fi, high-tech art, whether it's music, whether it's, you know, video or whatever it is, and they'll rent out the Varsity Theater and just, it's like an hour-long, just like mind-mending sort of, you're all on a mutual acid trip sort of, and again, sometimes it's video, sometimes somebody will come out with like this weird harpsichord, you know what I mean, and do, you know, rub glass around it and just put on a sonic experience, and I cannot for the life of me think of the exact name of the show, but the fact that they've been doing it every year and it gets weirder every year, which I think is most important to the product, is that it's weird as
Everybody
possible.
Everybody needs weird art now and again.
You got to.
Everybody needs it.
So yeah, I want to get into doing some kind of art eventually. Like I used to play music and whatnot, but
We will let you play music with us anytime.
well, the other day I was at a Hanukkah function and we're around the campfire and the guitar comes out. And my God, I really didn't want to be the Oasis guy, you know, where I'm just kind of playing the same like sort of pop songs. But that's all I had in me. I mean, I have a few little kind of like things like little ditties that you do. I wonder if you do this with actors. Do actors do this? Like when people like, oh, just do something for if you play guitar, like play something. You know, you kind of have to have that quick sort of elevator pitchy kind of thing. Is there like a?
There is a version of that, particularly if you're on the acting circuit.
Right.
I mean, you have probably 5 at a minimum in your head that you can do on the spot. But that is
what was yours like back in the day? Did you have one?
I had 2, and I can't remember them at all.
Not performable, were they?
One, I want to say one was Claudius from Hamlet, the big speech on my offense.
Did you have to do like an accent? Was
there
any sort of
I just did it
kitschy
straight.
about it?
I think
Okay.
that was one of my audition pieces, and I had another one, and it's escaping me right now.
But did it have to be memorable? Did it have to be something like almost pop culture-y?
Oh,
that
yeah.
they
So
knew
they
it?
have these things, and they happen around this time of year. Actually, they have them in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, called University and Resident Theater Association. And hundreds of would-be actors who are in college wanting to get a professional gig over the summer
Right.
or after they graduate, go and audition. And there's just a screening process. It's just literally like a cattle call.
There you go.
You walk in, you do your
Yeah, yeah,
pieces.
yeah.
If you do not
Stand out
zing,
immediately, right?
and if you're not what they're looking for,
Sure.
ta-ta for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. I again, just knowing the jury, right? That goes back to that right there. I mean, you got to know exactly how impressive you have to be.
You have to be Perry Mason.
There you go. Yeah, you gotta give them what they want, get the people what they want. You know, I don't know what it is, but no, with the guitar thing or with some of the music that I enjoy making, because I spent so much money on. This might end up in the studio eventually. These like I've got like 4 or 5 synthesizers. I've got like 6 or 7 drum machines and launch pads, like just things that I curated because one, like you, just liking the toys and liking to play with them, but then getting around to like doing everything that I want to be able to do with it, you know, then there's that, right? That's a whole other half of it, I guess. But no, with the guitar stuff, it's just like you got to practice, you got to keep up with it, just like you're saying about the stuff that you're remembering, or you can't perform it again because you have to like constantly be practicing. You have to constantly sort of keep it refined. My iron bar is getting rusty. Like I need to sharpen the sword a little bit when it comes to that stuff because I definitely was like, I don't know, guys, let's pull up a tab off of Ultimate Guitar app and just let's try and figure this out. Let's all thumb through this together.
I can't even get that far.
Yeah.
I was a music major once upon a time.
What'd you play?
I sang mostly. But I did do a little keyboard stuff.
There you go.
And I can sort of remember what some of the chords were, but I can't.
I start off enough to sound impressive. Like those 2 or 3 songs I've got. But that's about it. Don't ask me to play those. That's when I have to, do my thing and then be like, all right, that's enough, guys. That's enough in it. And they're like, no, just keep playing. No, I'm done. Kind of have to be, very affable about it. But I really don't have anything else in the tank. That's it. That was it. That's all I got. But yeah, this is fun though, man. See, we can do this. It turns out we can do this.
We can do this
Yeah,
anytime.
this works.
We'll
This
have
works.
Friends. We're gonna have LJ and Minda, and if you're out there and want to do a show with us, let's just figure it out.
If we can do it, anyone can do it, right?
And we'll just
Who's to
grab
say
our
we're doing it, but-
coffees and or adult beverages.
Ooh, even better.
We can do it anytime. So come be a guest on Mario's show.
Whenever we figure out what that
We're
is.
gonna do it. It's gonna say Mario across the top. The Super Mario Show.
Definitely.
Something.
That's coming down immediately. Nintendo will be on us.
But if you want your own show and have Mario on it, can do.
Yeah, you guys know I can't shut up. I've got so much to say. I got an opinion on it, right? So let's talk about it.
All right. Well, we're taking off for now.
Yep.
Give us money. The chat link is still there.
We discussed this. Buy him a coffee. It's been a while.
Buy me a PTZ camera.
Right.
They're about the same size.
Oh, really?
Could be. The lens.
Let's get on it, guys. Let's get on it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
It's good working with you,
Good to
brother.
see you. Ta-ta, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.